Jason Chaffetz, Fox News contributor, former Utah congressman in Focus now. So, Jason, and now there are 7 by tonight with DeSantis.
Yeah, look, Donald Trump is clearly out in front. I mean, it feels like he's almost lapping people at this point. But there's a long way to go. And Ron DeSantis is a serious candidate. He's got the money, the bank account to do it. He has the presence to do it. He's been building his campaign team, and he has a lot to offer the country. He was as successful as a governor. I think he's the only one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he has a military background, serving as a JAG officer overseas for our nation, and he's been a successful governor.
Let me ask you this, because I know everyone immediately focuses on the obvious in the room, and that is Donald Trump. How did they match up? I mean, is the criticism that he is Trump light? Is the criticism that he is completely different than Trump and is much more woke? Like, what sticks to Ron DeSantis in your mind?
Well, I actually look at it a little differently. I see the stickiness of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has so many people, millions of people, that want Donald Trump and nobody else. They probably like Ron DeSantis. They probably like Tim Scott. They probably like Vivek Ramaswamy and what he's saying. But they are so loyal to Donald Trump. They feel like he got screwed over by the Department of Justice, the woke media, and everybody else. And they feel like he needs to finish what he was doing for 4 years. On the other hand, Ron DeSantis, you know, his case is going to be, I don't bring the drama. I get the results. You get the same quality. I'm 32 years younger than Donald Trump. I am the future, and if I run and win, I can go for 2 terms. I can go for 8 years as opposed to just 4 more years of Donald Trump.
You know, it got nasty pretty quickly with the topic of race when Senator Tim Scott jumped into with his candidacy yesterday. 2 days ago, he did his first interview daytime after that yesterday. And it's interesting how quickly mainstream media will pounce on conservatives. A Vanity Fair headline, Ron DeSantis will formally announce his 2024 bid with Elon Musk because apparently David Duke wasn't available. Jason.
I mean, it's just so patently wrong. It's false. It's disgusting. It's why people hate politics. It's why a lot of good people don't run for politics. Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott are 2 of the finest Americans we have in this country. They have amazing stories, beautiful, wonderful families. It's just, you know, the story of Tim Scott rising up and his connection to his mom and everything that he's gone through. Ron DeSantis serving his nation, being a successful governor, successful congressman. You know, he's got a wife, 3 kids. His wife is fighting breast cancer. I mean, it doesn't get any more American than that. Yeah. And can't they just give him 3 minutes to actually give a perspective that has some balance?
They can't, because it's threatening. It's a narrative that on the left that they are not comfortable with. And when you talk about military service, just to be specific, it was Navy SEAL Team 1 that Ron DeSantis was the legal advisor for. So just that. Senator Tim Scott, though, kind of got an interesting, you know, bounce of reality for some on the left. He also announced, as I said, his bid for the White House. That was on Monday. Co-host of The View, Joy Behar, reacted this way.
He's one of these guys who, you know, he's like Clarence Thomas, Black Republican who believes in pulling yourself by your bootstraps, rather than, to me, understanding the systemic racism that African Americans face in this country and other minorities. He doesn't get it, neither does Clarence. Right. And that's why they're Republicans.
But she knows what it's like to be black in America or any place else.
Yeah, she.
I mean, I know that there have been accusations of blackface. I don't know if it ever happened with her. I didn't see it, but those accusations are there. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, they would never talk about Justin Trudeau or some of the other things that happened with on the Democratic side of the aisle. It's just disgusting. These people are viable. There's a reason why the Republicans are so strong. And you know what? The reason they go after Tim Scott and they go after Ron DeSantis is because they are a threat. They're a threat to the very narrative that they have tried to perpetuate on the American people. And Ron DeSantis went in and he won his last race by 19 percentage points after barely squeaking by the first term. The people of Florida really like what's going on with Ron DeSantis as their governor.
So do the people of California, because they keep moving there. Look, Senator Tim Scott has taken it before like this. And we will see how DeSantis will handle it. Here's how Senator Tim Scott has repeatedly fired back at those types of attacks that are completely untrue from Joy Behar, and even outlined his own personal experiences on multiple occasions. Watch.
Typically, when you've been here for a couple of years, the law enforcement officers get to know your face. Just last year, after being here for 5 years on the Capitol, and the officer looked at me with a little attitude and said, "The pen, I know. You, I don't. Show me your ID." Either he thinks I'm committing a crime impersonating a member of Congress, or what?
Yeah, that was a two-day series, as I remember. It was a two-part series on the Senate floor, and his full-throated backing of the police department and law enforcement across the country was coupled with, has he had his own experiences transparently? Joy Behar just needs to read or go to YouTube, I suppose. Look, let's talk about the field again. And how do you rise in a field like this? I mean, how do you set yourself apart and be different?
Well, look, there's going to be all kinds of ads. There's going to be a lot of barnstorming, small meetings. Those people in Iowa get to meet each of the candidates. But I really do think when Fox News hosts that debate that happens in August, that will be a major moment. How do you break out? How do you have so many people on a stage and have an actual debate? But that's where Ron DeSantis made his move against Adam Putnam. I was there. I was at the event. Ron DeSantis was way behind. And Adam Putnam had more money, had more name recognition. And even though Ron DeSantis had the backing of Donald Trump, he was still way behind. After that debate, he was the clear front runner, and he dominated from there. Now, debating against Donald Trump is going to be a whole lot different than Adam Putnam, believe me. And that's why it's going to be such a fascinating experience.
All right. Good to see you. Thank you. We'll watch all of it. It happens.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.